Business Essentials Podcast. Unlock your career.
Learn to speak business English like a pro.
You know that weird feeling when you walk into a meeting room and you can just sense people would rather be anywhere else? Like their bodies are physically present, but their minds are already planning lunch. Well, buckle up, because what I'm about to share will completely change how you think about those first 60 seconds. Here's the thing nobody tells you. Your brain has already judged someone's trustworthiness and competence in just 100 milliseconds. That's faster than a single heartbeat. By the time you hit 60 seconds, that judgment is locked in. Everything after that, it's just confirmation bias at work. Welcome back. I'm Marcus, and I've got Sarah with me today, who's going to walk us through why those opening seconds determine your entire meeting trajectory. The exact 4-phase framework that takes 60 seconds but eliminates 13 minutes of wasted time, and why meetings without clear decision authority drag on 3.5 times longer. We're also diving into meeting facilitation language today, so listen closely to how we use that language. Sarah, what makes those opening moments so make or break?
Hey Marcus, great to be here. Let me put this into perspective. 72% of meetings are ineffective, yet only 28% of people attribute the problem to how meetings are opened. The reality? Most meeting problems are opening problems. Research shows meetings waste an average of 13 minutes. That's 36% of total time before actual agenda discussion even begins. And it all comes down to unclear opening structure.
Wait, 13 minutes just on setup?
Exactly. Unclear purpose, no agenda communication, participants settling into focus. All problems that a deliberate 60-second opening framework eliminates completely. And here's the neuroscience part. Credibility and competence judgments form in 100 milliseconds before conscious processing even begins. So how you open determines whether people perceive you as organized and competent or scattered and unprepared. That perception persists throughout the entire meeting.
So the opening isn't just logistical, it's about establishing credibility.
Absolutely. Leaders with strong executive presence, demonstrated through confident, clear meeting openings, are promoted 40% more frequently and have 34% higher leadership perception scores. The opening moment is disproportionately important.
All right, so tell me, what's actually happening in those first 60 seconds that makes them so powerful?
Great question. So when a meeting starts, participants' brains are in prediction mode. They're scanning for cues. What is this meeting about? What's expected of me? Who has decision authority? When the answers aren't clear, the brain stays in threat detection mode. That consumes cognitive resources that could be used for substantive problem solving. But when you establish clear purpose, decision authority, and agenda at the opening, the brain shifts from anxiety to focused thinking.
For our listeners learning English, what does threat detection mode mean?
Threat detection mode is when your brain is scanning the environment for potential dangers or uncertainties. Think of it as your internal alarm system being activated. When you're unclear about what a meeting is about or what's expected from you, your brain treats that ambiguity as a potential threat. Not physical danger, but social or professional risk. It's consuming mental energy trying to figure out, am I safe here? What do they want from me? Instead of focusing on solving problems. In business, we talk about creating psychological safety, which means helping people's brains shift out of threat detection mode so they can contribute their best thinking.
So basically, unclear openings keep people anxious.
Exactly. And research shows that ambiguity triggers sustained activation of the brain's uncertainty processing regions. Clear purpose statements shift that activation to task-positive networks, problem-solving mode. Meetings with clear opening purpose show 40% higher participant engagement and 35% faster decision-making.
Give me an example. What does a bad opening look like versus a good opening?
Perfect. Let's do a scenario. Imagine it's 9 a.m. Monday morning stand-up. Bad opening. The meeting leader rushes in 30 seconds late, sits down immediately, and says, "Okay, let's start. First thing on the agenda." No greeting, no purpose statement, no connection. Participants immediately feel, this meeting is low priority, the leader is disorganized, and they don't feel respected.
So that's damaging credibility in the first 10 seconds.
Completely. Now contrast that with a strong opening. The leader is already present when people enter, making eye contact, nodding. As the meeting starts, "Good morning, everyone. How was everyone's weekend?" Pause for 20 to 30 seconds of genuine responses. Then, "Good." The purpose of this 45-minute meeting is to make a final decision on the Q3 project direction. By 10:45, we'll have decided which of the three directions we're moving forward with. I'll make the final call after hearing your input. Here's the agenda. Participants immediately feel this meeting matters, the leader is organized and respectful, and they know what's expected.
That's a good phrase, make a final decision. How would you use that in a real meeting?
You'd use "make a final decision" when you want to clarify that discussion time is over and it's time to commit to a choice. For example, "We've gathered input from all departments. Today we need to make a final decision on the vendor." It signals urgency and commitment. Native speakers use this phrase specifically to distinguish between discussing options versus actually deciding. You could also say "reach a decision" or "come to a decision," but "make a final decision" emphasizes that the decision won't be revisited.
What's another mistake? What else do people get wrong?
Biggest mistake? Discussing a decision for 30 minutes without ever clarifying who actually has decision authority. The group assumes their input will determine the decision. Then the manager later decides differently. The group feels unheard and manipulated. Trust erodes. Future meetings have lower engagement because people protect themselves.
So ambiguous authority backfires.
Completely. And here's what's interesting. Meetings without clear decision authority are 3.5 times longer and 2.2 times more likely to reach false consensus. That's when people agree in the meeting, but the agreement dissolves afterward because no one actually committed. Explicitly stating authority at the opening eliminates this problem.
So what should they do instead? Give me the right way to handle it.
You state authority explicitly. Sarah's team has been researching this for 2 months. Sarah will make the final call. Our role today is to give strong input on technical feasibility and cost implications. Clear role expectations. Participants know their input matters, but they're not making the decision. Paradoxically, this clarity actually increases psychological safety and participation quality because people understand the power structure instead of navigating ambiguity.
That's interesting. Clarity increases safety, not reduces it.
Exactly. When authority is unclear, people engage in implicit status negotiation throughout the meeting, consuming time and emotional energy. When it's explicit, the group can immediately focus on collaborative problem solving.
Let's talk about agenda. Walk me through how to do that part right.
So the data shows that 67% of participants report meetings lack clear agendas, yet only 19% of meeting organizers actually establish agenda clarity at opening. Huge gap. And the consequence? 51% of meetings drift off topic, wasting time and creating perception of lack of progress. The solution is simple. Share a written, time-allocated agenda at the opening and invite input.
How would someone actually do that?
You'd say something like, "I drafted an agenda for us. First, vendor comparison 20 minutes. Then, pros/cons discussion 15 minutes. Then, final decision discussion 10 minutes. Does this work for everyone? Would you prioritize anything differently?" Then you pause and genuinely listen. If someone says, "Could we spend more time on budget implications? That's where I have concerns." You adjust visibly. "Good point. Let's give budget 25 minutes and move Q&A to 10. That work?" Then confirm buy-in.
So native speakers would say, does this work for everyone? Not, is everyone agree?
Exactly. "Does this work for everyone?" is the natural phrasing. Or you could say, "Does this work for you?" Or, "Is everyone okay with this?" But not, "Is everyone agree?" That's a common error. The phrase, "Does this work?" is extremely common in business English when you're checking agreement or buy-in on schedules, agendas, or plans.
There's another element you mentioned, connection. Tell me about that.
So here's a fascinating research finding. Pre-meeting small talk predicts 40% of meeting effectiveness variance, more than any other single factor, including good meeting procedures. That means how you begin the human interaction before substantive discussion determines psychological safety, engagement, and ultimate meeting quality.
Wait, small talk predicts 40%? That seems high.
It does, but the research is clear. Brief, authentic connection at the opening creates the relational foundation that makes collaboration possible. When you skip straight to business without acknowledging people as humans, the meeting feels transactional and cold. Psychological safety is low. People contribute less, withhold ideas, and feel less valued. But 2 to 3 minutes of genuine connection, how's everyone doing, with a real pause for responses, activates trust and engagement.
So, what's the phrase? How would you say that?
You'd say, "Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing?" Or, "Before we dive in, how was everyone's weekend?" The key is pausing for genuine responses, not treating it as rhetorical. You could also say, "Thanks for making time for this. I know everyone's busy." That acknowledges their time as valuable. These opening phrases set a warm, respectful tone that carries through the entire meeting.
Imagine someone's leading their first big strategy meeting with senior leadership. Walk me through the exact 60-second opening framework.
Perfect scenario. So the framework has 4 phases. Phase 1, presence and connection, 10 to 15 seconds. You arrive early. You're already present when people enter. You make eye contact, greet people warmly. As meeting starts, "Good morning, everyone. Great to see you all here." Brief, authentic warmth. Phase 2, purpose statement, 15 to 20 seconds. The purpose of this 60-minute meeting is to align on our Q4 strategy priorities. By 11 a.m., we'll have identified our top 3 strategic initiatives and assigned ownership. This determines our roadmap for the next quarter.
So that's crystal clear purpose.
Exactly. Phase 3, decision authority, 10 to 15 seconds. I'll make the final call on priorities after hearing your input. I particularly want your perspective on resource constraints and competitive threats. Clear who decides, clear what input you're seeking. Phase 4, agenda and autonomy, 15 to 20 seconds. Here's how I'm thinking we'll structure this. First, market context review, 15 minutes. Then, initiative proposals, 25 minutes. Then, prioritization discussion, 15 minutes. 5-minute buffer. Does this work for everyone? Anything you'd adjust?
And then you pause for input.
Correct. If someone suggests adjustment, you make it visibly. Then confirm buy-in. Great, we're aligned on the agenda. Let's start with market context. Total time, 60 seconds. But the impact? The meeting runs smoothly. People are engaged. Decisions are made. No confusion about purpose or authority. 13 minutes of wasted setup time completely eliminated.
What happens if someone starts late? That's super common.
So, 66% of meeting participants cite starts or ends late as the most common meeting problem. 37% of meetings start late, average 5+ minutes. And here's the cost. Each delayed start costs $7.18 per participant minute. That adds up fast. The solution? Start exactly on time. Leaders worry this seems rude to latecomers. Actually, starting late is ruder to punctual participants because it signals their time is less valuable.
So starting on time establishes respect.
Exactly. And it models clear boundaries. When you consistently start on time, punctuality becomes expected. People adapt. If someone is late, you brief them afterward if needed. But you don't penalize everyone else by waiting. Starting exactly on time reduces total meeting length by 8 minutes on average and establishes a culture of time respect.
Before we wrap up, let's recap the key terms we talked about today.
Sure. The main ones were threat detection mode, psychological safety, decision authority, and make a final decision. Threat detection mode is when your brain is scanning for uncertainties or risks instead of focusing on problem solving. Psychological safety means creating an environment where people feel safe to contribute honestly without fear of judgment. Decision authority means clarifying who has the power to make the final choice. And make a final decision is the phrase we use when it's time to commit to a choice and stop discussing options.
Great, so our listeners can use these terms when they're facilitating meetings, explaining decision processes, or discussing why certain meeting structures work better than others. All right, so the big takeaway here is most meeting problems are opening problems. You have 100 milliseconds to form credibility judgments and 60 seconds to set the trajectory for the entire meeting. The framework is simple. Presence and connection. Arrive early, greet warmly. Purpose statement. State why you're meeting and what you'll accomplish. Decision authority. Clarify who decides and on what timeline. Agenda and autonomy. Share agenda, invite input, confirm buy-in. 60 seconds. But the payoff? 13 minutes of wasted time eliminated. Decision quality improves by 3.5 times, and you establish the executive presence that gets you promoted 40% more frequently. Sarah, what's the one thing you want people to take from this?
Stop rushing into meetings. The opening isn't wasted time. It's the most important time. When you invest 60 seconds in a structured opening, you recover 13+ minutes throughout the meeting and dramatically improve outcomes. Leaders who master this are perceived as organized, respectful, and competent. Those are the 3 factors that predict promotion. So the next meeting you lead, try the framework. Arrive early, greet warmly, state clear purpose, clarify decision authority, share agenda and invite input, track what changes. I guarantee you'll see higher engagement, better decisions, and meetings that actually accomplish something.
Here's what we want from listeners. Try the 60-second opening framework in your next meeting. Then come back and tell us, what changed when you opened professionally? Did engagement increase? Did the meeting end on time or early? Did you actually make decisions? Share your experience in the comments.
And if you notice mistakes you've been making, late starts, unclear purpose, ambiguous authority, don't beat yourself up. These are skill gaps, not character flaws. Practice the framework and watch how people's perception of your leadership changes.
Here's what's coming next episode. Something that genuinely separates good communicators from great ones. How to summarize like an executive. You know those moments when you're in a meeting and someone asks you to recap what was just discussed for 30 minutes? Most people either ramble through every single detail or just freeze up completely. But executives? They distill complex conversations into 3 clear sentences that capture the essence, highlight the decision, and identify the next steps. We're breaking down the exact framework for executive-level summarizing, why your brain struggles to filter important from unimportant information in real time, the specific phrases that signal, "I'm about to summarize," and how summarizing skills directly correlate with promotion velocity. Because leaders who can synthesize information clearly are trusted with bigger decisions. Whether you're summarizing in meetings, writing executive briefs, or reporting to senior leadership, this episode will teach you the skill that makes people think, "This person thinks like a leader."
Oh, wow, that's a powerful skill. Being able to summarize effectively is honestly one of those invisible skills that dramatically accelerates your career.
Absolutely. Sarah, this was really excellent. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today.
Thanks, Marcus. And everyone listening, this week, practice finding common ground with someone new. Use that 60-second framework. You'll be amazed at how quickly you can build rapport.
Love it. Go try it out, and we'll see you in the next episode with more game-changing skills. Keep growing, everyone.
Catch you next time.
Business Essentials Podcast. Unlock your career.
Learn to speak business English like a pro.